A very good afternoon to you and welcome to CoreTV News on the Hour. I am Nena Nyama. On our first story this afternoon, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has advocated a permanent membership status for Nigeria in the Security Council of the United Nations, stating that the country deserves it because of its contribution to international peacekeeping, the size of its population and economy. Delivering a keynote address at the African launch of the Global Commission report, Osinbajo said Nigeria fully shares the views expressed in the report that the United Nations Security Council should be expanded, including the call in the report for restraint on the use of veto by the 5 permanent members of the Council. The Vice President is of the view that since Africa is the only continent without a permanent seat in the UN Security Council, Nigeria has the strongest profile to represent Africa and therefore balance the membership composition of the Council. The military has assured Nigerians that never again will Boko Haram insurgents retake any territories soldiers have liberated in the northeast. It also insists that the insurgency will be contained within the next 3 months. Defense spokesman Colonel Rabi Abubakar gave this assurance at his maiden news conference in Abuja. Abubakar is confident that the military has enough equipment and logistics to contain the terrorists and revealed that 8,700 troops from the Multinational Joint Task Force will soon be deployed for the final phase of the battle. Our defense correspondent Pius Samuel now reports.
What happened? It has happened.
It's the maiden interactive session between the military spokesman and defense correspondent since his appointment a few weeks ago. But first, he solicited the support of the media in the war against insurgency. He argued that it is not only with the gun that a country can win a war. So, he wants the press to be more objective in reporting the ongoing counter-insurgency operations.
It's absolutely necessary in view of the need to avail you with my modus operandi and command philosophy regarding my interaction with you. You recall that during my handling and taking over, I had brief chat with you. I made it clear that I will maintain an open door policy, encourage smooth flow of information and quick response to inquiries on military activities nationwide. In addition to that, I will maintain a great posture of openness to all matters as they affect and influence our military operations without compromising operational and national security.
The military is sure of ending the activities of Boko Haram in 3 months as directed by President Buhari. Abubakar insists that the time frame is achievable, and that is why the Multinational Joint Task Force is deploying 8,700 troops to the front line.
In line with popular belief that security is everybody's business, hence the need to collectively support the effort of the security agencies to swiftly actualize the presidential directive to end the menace of Boko Haram terrorists within the stipulated time period.
To ensure that territories captured by the troops no longer fall into the hands of Boko Haram, the military spokesman revealed that troops have been directed to ensure safety in those areas. He also claimed that never again will terrorists retake any territory captured by troops in the northeast.
What happened, it has happened. Now we are moving forward, and I believe with the level of injections of what we have, you know, material-wise, equipment-wise, the morale, the troops is being, you know, extremely, you know, encouraged, and they are ready to, you know, test anybody, not just Boko Haram.
With the recent successes recorded in the fight against Boko Haram, Abubakar is sure that peace will soon return to the northeast. Pius Samuel, CoreTV News, Abuja.
In a related development, the Nigerian Army says troops involved in counterinsurgency operations are making steady progress towards clearing all Boko Haram enclaves in and around Sambisa Forest. This is contained in a statement issued on Wednesday by the Acting Director of Army Public Relations Officer Colonel Sani Usman. Usman disclosed that troops are currently clearing Boko Haram hideouts around areas that had already been taken over by the army within the forest. He also reaffirmed the army's commitment towards ending insurgency and ensuring a safe and secure Nigeria, in line with the directive of President Muhammadu Buhari. Also, the Nigerian Army says troops have intercepted and arrested individuals who have been supplying Boko Haram terrorists with hard drugs and other stimulants. Army spokesman Colonel Sani Usman said in a statement that they were picked up between Depchi and Gaidam in the northern part of Yobe State on Tuesday. The arrested persons were also said to have been engaged in the supply of fuel, in addition to hard drugs such as cannabis, chloroform substance, and tramadol, amongst others. The army says the suspects have been making useful statements. Away from security, national leader of the All Progressive Congress, Bola Tinubu, has dismissed claims that he is locked in a political battle with former Vice President Atiku Abubakar for the chairmanship of the party's Board of Trustees. He spoke shortly after a closed-door meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari at the presidential villa, Abuja. The former Lagos State governor, who was accompanied by another former governor, Bisi Akonde, insisted that there was no basis for a power struggle. Senate President Bukola Saraki has described his experience since assuming office 3 months ago as interesting and challenging. He spoke while answering questions from reporters after an official tour of the National Assembly complex in Abuja, the first such tour by any Senate president since 1992. The Senate President said a familiarization tour was meant to allow him and the principal officers of the upper chamber have an on-the-spot assessment of the environment. The Senate is convinced that the money spent on the power sector since 1999 would exceed 2.7 trillion naira. This, according to the chairman of the Senate Committee on Power, Abubakar Yari, is because the amount in the public domain came from only the Ministry of Power, the National Integrated Power Project, NIPP. He said on the second day of the investigative hearing that a total figure of expenditure would emerge after all the agencies would have given their testimonies.
Even from last night, the 2.7 trillion naira was spent in 16 years. We want to correct that impression. We have not concluded, we have not arrived at a final figure yet. The 2.7 trillion naira was just the Ministry of Power of 958 billion, and that of the NIPP of $8.23 billion. That is what, when you add these two, will give you 2.7 trillion naira. But you are all aware that these are only two agencies or two departments, that we were just trying to reconcile these figures. As we go along, we know we have other agencies, and even including the ones that those that are here, that have contributed to the investment, and also other multilateral agencies that have investments in the power sector over the years.
We'll take a break now. We're back with more stories. Just stay with us.
Some pundits believe that as long as the political system is driven by selected few, corruption may be difficult to fight.
You should be careful about what you say.
I am not the only politician. Even if I've wronged anyone, it is time to forgive me.
Political Arena every Sunday at 9:15 p.m. and a repeat broadcast every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m.
If you just joined us, you're still watching CoreTV News on the hour. For more information on our news stories, join us on our social media platforms, facebook.com/CoreTV News and on Twitter at CoreTV News NG. And on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CoreTV, leave a space news. Thanks for joining me. The All Progressive Congress has inaugurated a 6-member committee to screen politicians jostling to fly the party's flag in December gubernatorial elections in biased states. The committee, which is headed by Hakeem Baba Ahmed, is to screen all 20 aspirants that have since indicated interest. The inauguration was done by Deputy National Chairman for the Southwest, Segun Oni, who promised a level playing field for the aspirants.
We have confidence in the ability of this team that has been carefully put together to do justice to the business of screening them. We are not screening for any predetermined result. We are screening just to find out if the individuals are qualified to contest the governorship elections. It is not a screening that is a pseudo-weeding test. No, we are not doing any pseudo-weeding. If all of them are qualified, all of them will contest.
We understand our job is to screen aspirants, ensure that they comply with the requirements of the party to compete. We will do this with transparency, with fairness, and strictly in accordance with the rules. We will try and finish this exercise because we have a big field, 19 aspirants. We will try to do this as quickly as possible because the journey to the government house in Yenagoa starts today for the APC. Everything our party does from today and to win that election is going to be done, as you said, by the standards that were already established.
And now to Osun State, workers in the state may be heaving a sigh of relief as the state governor Rauf Aregbesola has announced his reserve to pay all the outstanding salary arrears before the end of the month. Governor Aregbesola disclosed this while speaking at a public event in Osogbo, the state's capital. He explained that his administration is committed to the welfare of its workers and reassured that the 8-month salaries owed them will be settled before Eid al-Kabir festival.
I'm appealing to our workers. Please, in your respective workstations, turn yourself to whistleblowers. That is, agent of integrity, agent of transparency. If you notice anybody, because we cannot be too perfect, if you notice any hanky-panky, any mischief in payment and collection of salaries, please alert us. We are not happy by the fact that there are people who are abusing all the efforts we have put in place to check undue leakages or any leakage at all in our system.
And now to Ekiti State, the State House of Assembly is taking a swipe at the federal government for calling the CBN loan facility to workers as bailout. This is coming as the House passed a resolution for the state government to take 10 billion naira loan facility from the excess crude account and over 9 billion naira from the bailout fund. The 10 billion is sought to offset the state's recurrent expenditure, while the 9.6 billion is to clear salary arrears, bringing the total loan to be taken by Ekiti up to the tune of 20 billion naira. Rashid was at the session and files in this reports.
As part of the requirements of the Central Bank of Nigeria for states to access the bailout fund, the Ekiti State government was seeking approval for 2 loan packages from the Apex Bank. One is a 10 billion naira loan drawn from the excess crude account at 9% interest rate for recurrent expenditure, while another facility of about 10 billion naira from the bailout fund is for the payment of salary arrears. The Ekiti State House of Assembly, through the Speaker, however, faults the federal government for tagging the loans as bailout since the loans come with interest.
A bailout, I believe, should be a situation where somebody is drowning or is in a crisis situation and the person is lifted. The person is assisted without any condition attached. Any assistance that will come from the federal government should not attract any interest at all.
But despite this, the House resolved and gave the state government the nod to borrow loans totaling 19.6 billion naira. Ekiti people are already aware and expectant of the 9.6 billion bailout, but the House says sensitization will be needed to make them understand the rationale behind the other 10 billion naira loan.
We'll also sensitize our people to let them know that the 10 billion naira loan is for the development of our state, apart from the bailout, which the federal government called the bailout, which is going to serve for the purpose of taking care of the workers in the state.
Ekiti now awaits the receipt of those loans and its disbursement to help in cushioning the effects of the cash crunch on the citizenry. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado Ekiti.
International World Suicide Prevention Day is marked yearly on September 10 in order to provide worldwide commitment and action to prevent suicides. The theme for this year is Preventing Suicide, Reaching Out and Saving Lives. CoreTV's correspondent Netu Ilabere takes a look at suicide prevention efforts in Nigeria. Her report is presented from our studios.
When an individual, for whatever motive, takes his or her life, suicide is said to have been committed. President of International Association for Suicide Prevention, Ella Arensman, noted that offering support, showing care and concern to someone who may be vulnerable to suicide is a game changer in combating suicide. How relevant is this campaign to Nigerians?
The first answer that comes to my mind is frustration. Maybe probably people are frustrated. People have tried a whole lot of stuffs, and you know they are tired of living. And then the person just thinks that the next thing to do is to commit suicide. But I think there is also something that backs it up, in the sense that it's hard for you to see a normal human being to say he or she wants to actually die.
I think it's a loss. It's generally a loss of hope. People just switch off, and they think there's no other way out apart from the situation they are into at that moment. And if we have hope, I don't think there's any reason why anybody would say I want to kill myself.
Because of hard time, because of the system is no longer working, you know. So that is it. It's not that somebody would like to commit suicide, but when you cannot be able to take care of your family or pay for your house rent or other needs, so that's why people commit suicide.
Isolation is linked to suicidal tendencies, but communal support can be of great help.
When they start sensing that people are becoming preoccupied with thoughts of death or committing suicide or feelings of hopelessness and helplessness, that is the time. They shouldn't wait until something drastic happens. They should find a way to help these people access treatment.
Nigerians are thought to be some of the happiest on earth, but issues of this nature should still be given adequate attention to check likely suicide tendencies in Nigeria.
We'll take another break now. We'll return with more stories on business and foreign scene. To stay with us.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then news. CoreTV News, our 24-hour news station.
Glad to have you back in business. The Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, LCCI, says there will be a further crash in crude oil price, currently trending at a 6-year low of $40 per barrel. Addressing journalists at a press conference in Lagos, LCCI's president, Remi Bello, warned that a crash of the oil prices may further heighten the physical challenges being experienced in the country. He disclosed that Nigeria's real gross domestic product, GDP, fell to 2.35% in the second quarter of 2015, compared to 6.54% in the same period last year. The LCCI boss have advised that the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN's foreign exchange policy should be reviewed urgently to encourage the inflow of autonomous funds into the foreign exchange markets. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture is set to introduce the National Agricultural Payment Initiative, NAPI, as a boost to the e-wallet system of fertilizer allocation and distribution in the country. Bauchi State Director in the ministry, Mohammed Yusuf, attributed the non-implementation of the e-wallet system to change of administration at the central level and outstanding payment of agro dealers. He disclosed that a new program would help capture biometrical data of all farmers. The director further noted that successes recorded and errors noticed during the last e-wallet system will be fused into the new program. Archaeologists in South Africa have announced the discovery of a new human species, a find they say could change our understanding of ancestors. Researchers at Witwatersrand University said that the species, which they named Homo naledi, appeared to have intentionally buried its dead in graves, a feature that was once thought to be limited to modern humans. The scientists at WIT say they have recovered parts belonging to at least 15 individuals of the same species. The remains were found in the cave known as Rising Star in the cradle of humankind, about 50 kilometers northwest of the South African city of Johannesburg. The fossils, which included those of children, adults, and elderly members of the species, were found in a room deep underground the cave network. And finally, thousands of weary refugees strive to make their way across Europe's borders, even as some of the countries move to shut their borders against them. Moving along Hungary's border with Serbia, the refugees are overcome with fear as Budapest prepares to deploy its military to strengthen its border and stop the people from crossing. The landlocked Central European state is also building a fence to keep the refugees out, but this did not stop the refugees from scaling the fences and making their way into the country. President of the European Commission, Jean-Claude Juncker, has, however, called on member states to provide homes for 160,000 refugees by next year. And that's it on CoreTV News on the Hour. Thanks so much for watching. I am Nana Nyama. Good afternoon.